patrons, and welcome to your own special Patreon feed. Today, as promised, we are going to check out that warm-up routine that I use. I am only going to introduce you to the first bit of it because it gets quite complex. As we go, we'll get into the full thing for those of you who can and would like to. This is a really great technique I learned from my teacher while I was studying in Austria. It's a technique for me that kind of takes away the monotony and the kind of like boringness of warming up, and also the tiringness of it. I find warming up with long notes very tiring. For those of you who are still beginners, don't stress, take it one step at a time. If you can play a full G major scale and can go a few notes above the second G, you probably can do this exercise already in a simplified version. For those of you who are more professional, intermediate, this is such a great way to improve your technique as well as warm up on the flute. So I encourage you, give it a go, try it every day for a while and see if you like it. So the basic idea is we are always playing a scale. We're going to do it in G major. I'm going to write down the notes of the G major scale below. And you're always just going to play an octave of the scale and slowly move up the scale one step at a time. I'm going to demonstrate this so this is a little bit clearer. So you're going to start on G. One octave, all slurred. Then you jump to A, the next degree of the scale, below A. Also one octave from A to A. Then you go to the B. Then C. And so on and so forth. So basically it's like you're playing those long notes. Kind of like you're playing that one long scale, but you're always just moving your fingers up an octave on each of those notes. The idea is to try and keep this stable, not moving too much here as possible, just really going, letting the air just really blow through the flute. You are not trying to adjust too much, you're not worrying too much about the sound. Remember, this is the first thing you're doing in a day, this is the warm-up. You're kind on yourself, you're gentle with yourself, and you just letting go. For those of you who can only go up to C or D, you do that, and then you come down in the following way. So say we go up to D. Now we come down, we repeat the D and we start coming down. In exactly the same way, except we're moving down now. So same thing, you're moving step by step down that scale, always just playing the full octave down. You can go right down to the lowest note you can play. So you carry on going. And then C was my lowest note. I start coming up in the same way again. Coming up again like that. Now I'm doing this quite fast just to demonstrate it for you, but there are two main objectives in this exercise. Number one, you really want to just think sound, 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 sound. It's really about getting the best, nicest, clearest sound you can get. Number two, you want to really make sure those fingers are absolutely even, completely and absolutely even. You want to really listen, spend time checking in, listening to those connections of those fingers. Are they really working the way they should be working? If the answer to this is yes, and you're getting a nice sound, you're starting to feel comfortable, you can slowly start to speed it up just slightly. This is a great exercise to practice with a metronome as well, just to really make sure you're staying nice and stable. If you can go to the really high notes, I go all the way to D4, fourth octave D. So really going right up, all the way up there. You don't have to do it all the way up there, but if you can, do. And go as high as you can go, and then try and go a note higher than you know. There's a nice video I did on the high octave fingerings, so you can go check out those high octave fingerings and just add one note. Maybe every couple of weeks you just add in one note till you feel comfortable, and then add another note. It's a great way to learn your notes and to learn your scales and warm up all at the same time, which is why I just love this exercise. I always recommend you start it slurred. Don't start with any other articulations, tongued or two tongued, two slurred or whatever it is. always start completely slow, just because I find this really allows us just to practice those legato phrases and just letting go. It also really helps if you think of crescendoing up that line. So you're thinking about getting louder up the line. Really, really helpful. Once you get comfortable with the slurring, you can start doing it in different articulations. So for example, that's too slow, too tongued. You can also do any combinations of the four. Or whatever it might be. I usually do 2 to 3 different articulations in a day, and then I'm done. Then I move on to the next exercise. Give it a try, guys. See how it goes. This has really been one of the single greatest exercises that I've done to help improve my technique. It's a whole sequence of stuff. We're going to get to the rest. We go to thirds and sixes and Tafel Gobe number 7, and there's a nice chromatic exercise. By the end of it, we've played through every single interval on the flute in about 20 minutes in the beginning. It did take me about an hour to do the full thing, but that's why we're going to do it slowly, bit by bit. Eventually, you practice every interval in 20 minutes, which is amazing. I mean, you're really practicing and making sure you know your intervals. So stick with me on this, and until then, see you next time.